I am Beth, your resident music nerd, back with another deconstruction of Les Mis. A couple weeks ago, I had so much fun comparing Les Mis music over 35 years of productions that I wanted to try my hand again with the famous motif that goes into the beginning of At the End of the Day. I will give a warning to headphone users. A lot of these clips involve live concert recordings, so there's a lot of applause and also very large orchestra crashes. So be warned, it's gonna be pretty loud. As I did a couple weeks ago, I would love to start out with the French concept album, which has this iconic melody, and underneath has this harmony. So together it creates this, which is a parallel fifth melody and harmony. And then when the melody changes, the harmony changes to this, creating this. And then I think it's really cool because it ends on a tritone, and if you don't know what a tritone is, check out my Instagram where I talk about intervals. And what I also really love about this intro is that there are these chimes in the background, these sort of wind chimes that add to the etherealness. Also, the tempo is very much slowed down, so it's a lot more stately and dignified rather than exciting and bombastic. Finally, I love the bum-bums because they're done by bells rather than brass or the entire orchestra. So let's listen to the concept album. So that is the French concept album. Moving on to the Broadway cast album, I would like to point out that it's kind of similar, but a little more sped up. So we're going to listen to it, and then we're going to talk about it. So, some similar things going on. You still have the iconic melody. I mean, it wouldn't be Les Mis if you didn't. But there is less harmony. More often, there are only two notes of harmony, the bottom two, instead of the entire. And then later, for the harmony switches to rather than. So it's a slightly different, there are a couple notes difference, so I think that's really cool. And the harmony isn't there the entire time, only when the melody change happens. Now, if we go on to the 10th anniversary concert, and warning, there is some applause, let's listen to how this one compares to the other two. So a lot more bombastic, a lot more exciting. You can feel and hear the audience's excitement. There's also no harmony whatsoever. It's only that melody. Also, what I wanted to mention was, in this version, the 10th anniversary concert, the bum-bums are done with brass and they're very bombastic and loud. Now, in the previous version that we just listened to, the Broadway cast album, the bum-bums are also done with brass, although they're a little more subdued, a little more stately, and they're meant more to be supportive rather than bombastic. Moving on to the 25th anniversary concert of Les Mis, the harmony only appears when the melody changes from to, and that harmony is the same one that we just heard before. So let's listen for that one. So as you can tell, the harmony only appeared later on, and I loved these little chimes that were happening with every bum 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 bum, so that was also very fun to listen to. Also, very bombastic, very in your face, as was mentioned and observed a couple weeks ago in my last comparison. Moving on, I would like to also talk about the 25th anniversary cast album recording. It's not the same thing. It's Les Mis live at the Barbican Theatre. This one is with John Owen Jones as Valjean. So, yeah, I got confused. I accidentally bought this CD when I meant to buy the other one, but the cast is still amazing. So, take a listen to this one as well, because it's great. In the same manner, the harmony only changes when the melody changes from... We don't have the harmony all the way through. Now in this one, I really appreciate these rhythmic chimes that are going on, so I'm going to point them out to you as we listen. Here we go. I find it interesting that the more modern the Les Mis production gets, the faster the intro becomes. We started out with 33 seconds for the concept album, then went down to 22 seconds, then 21, then 20, and then the past 3 that we listened to sort of flattened out around the 20-second mark. Just something interesting to note. Now, I would like to close out this video with the Les Mis movie. Figured I would throw that in for kicks. Now, the orchestration for the movie does not give us any harmony whatsoever. They just went, the melody is iconic enough, that's all they need, right? Well, I do love the bum 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 brass octave jumps because the first 2 have these beautiful little pulses, adds a little extra shimmer. The rest of them are held out normally as you would expect, but the first 2 have these beautiful little pulses that I love very much. So let's listen to those. Did you catch the ending? So instead of going, the orchestration actually falls an octave downwards. And I find that interesting because in the movie, the camera shot goes from in the sky to falling downwards into the streets. So that's a really cool parallel between what you're seeing and what you're hearing. That's all I've got for you for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you prefer today's modern orchestrations, or do you wish that we would go back to the French concept album? Do you think the harmony adds anything to these orchestrations, or do you not really miss it at all in the Les Mis movie? Talk to me, tell me what you think, because we've got a full week to discuss this before next week's deconstruction. See you next Friday!